So I just recorded like, I don't know, probably like a 35-minute video about a lot of baseball talk and programming talk. And as I was getting toward the end of it, I was like, wow, this video is so long. I don't think anyone could sit and watch this thing. So the beauty of just deleting that entire thing and starting over is I have now everything I want to say all in my head really, really fast. And there's a lot to talk about. And we're actually going to make this video super, super quick, like under 5 minutes. And you're going to get a lot of information. So Monday MLB algorithm, couple things happened. Cleveland won. Arizona's still going on right now. This game's actually in the 8th inning. It's 4-1 Arizona. They might win, but San Francisco's actually got some guys on in the 8th, so not over yet. Even if they lost, though, that's okay, because we're talking about something called MxP Factor. The MxP Factor is what I've been looking for when it comes to figuring out how to order the list every day. I want to order the list and I want to say things like, hey, I give you a list and the stuff on the top is the most reliable to pick in terms of the team winning. And that's because it's looking at the margin, the difference between the team and the team they are playing, or at least the consistency of the lineup of the team and their opponent. And then that's a comparison of the two. Then there's just the raw power of the team of reference that we're talking about. That's what the power is. The power is Cleveland. So Cleveland didn't have the strongest power of the day. They had like 1, 2, 3. They were the tied for the 4th or 5th strongest raw power team for the day, but their margin was really great because apparently they were playing a really weak lineup. So it gave this MxP Factor almost the threshold of 20 that we want. We want an MxP Factor over 20. If you look at previous days, you can see how MxP Factors are usually a lot bigger. Like yesterday, there was one that was 73 in this Dodger game. They won. There was a Houston one that was 43. They also won. The 31 lost, and then you drop below 20, where I say that it's going to look like random pattern noise. It's going to look like barber pole. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. You don't want that as a bettor. And someone who's going to be picking games, you do not want to be betting on games. The algorithm says it can only give you a random pattern of maybe win one and lose one. Anybody can win one and lose one, right? It's about winning more than one in a row. So even on the day of Sunday or whatever, you still that MxP Factor matters, right? Well, here today, hopefully Arizona hangs on. But like I said, if they don't, they only had an MxP Factor of 12. So you shouldn't have been getting that excited about it anyway. Right now, all that being said, all these losses here, by the way, were not there earlier in the day. You can actually go into different versions of the file. If you go to version history. And when I did the video last night to talk about Monday, which is this 1:09 a.m. version right here. I mean, look at what we had. We had Kansas City, who won this doubleheader. We had both them as the pick. We did not have Detroit. Today, the final version after confirmed lives, we had Detroit. And we also had Colorado instead of San Diego. But we have San Diego last night. So if you were by what I said last night, you actually have a lot more winners. And a lot of people did, I'm sure, did that and didn't actually look at the Google Sheet, which changed. And what you need to know about that and what you can learn, and the long story short on that is this. See how these MxP Factors are super duper small? Like Cleveland's MxP Factor was not even a 19 last night. It was apparently only a 16. All these are super duper small. And that means that this is random pattern noise games, all of them, where it was just a very weird day where that's what you had. So that's what we go by, is the MxP Factor. And there's a reason to, because it's going to be more correct, and you're going to get more of your picks correct because you use it. The ones that are hitting, will always be like, well, what was the MxP Factor on the game and then why? So when you look at today, all right, I've already gone over today, and it's so easy to look at right now, even though we don't have confirmed lineups yet, but we can guess how much stuff will shift. And we also have 4 games with an MxP Factor of over 20. That's the Yankees, the Boston, Toronto, and the Dodgers. There's no line on the Toronto game yet. The Yankees line is awful. And Boston has Chris Sale going for his first start of the season, which is why their line is only -120. So that's an abnormality where you have a guy making his first start. We're using his last year's stats. He's a really good pitcher last year and a really good pitcher in general. Will that change? I don't know why he's starting this late in the season. I don't know if there was an injury or something going on or what happened, but that's obviously something to watch. So, the Excel algorithm gives you Yankees, Texas, Miami, San Francisco by margin, but the Google sheet, which I would say that what's going on here makes a lot more sense logically. And what the Google sheet is doing with the MxP factor as the descending, showing you what's going on, should be better. So these four is your parlay, I guess. I don't know if you're going to hit all of them, but that's what the algorithm would say on a good day. They hit those for sure. Then you've got some MxP factors above 10 here, Minnesota, Texas, San Francisco. But the line for San Francisco is terrible because they're going up against Dallas Keuchel, so people think he's going to lose. It's possible, but San Francisco's lineup was pretty good, but for some reason their expected lineup factor is really low at a 2.6, and that was maybe going to cause some problems. So it moved them down. So it says things like they're not worth it at that line. It says Minnesota's probably worth it at that line, and Texas maybe. But we have San Francisco way down. And also what to be noted here is that all these games with MxP factors below 10, okay, that's like all of these right here. That's Cleveland today. So you're not taking Cleveland tomorrow unless they're a crazy underdog line or something. The Houston is not worth it, it says. MxP factor is only 10. Atlanta's not worth it for sure at -161. San Diego, not worth it. Seattle, not worth it. Baltimore, here's your toss-up game where you've got an underdog. You could maybe play them as a straight bet. It says you'll win money overall because they'll win more than 50% of the games, but just barely is what to be on this list down here. That's what that means. Miami, no, terrible line. If anything, maybe even consider going the other side of that at Pittsburgh +1.5 or something. White Sox don't know what the line is yet. And Detroit, of course, if you want to bet on Detroit, it's also a coin flip game and you maybe could bet 110, but it really says stay away from all those if you don't want to mess around with those games. Like you shouldn't have to. And it says these four are the ones to focus on the most extreme disparities in team quality, with the Yankees Cincinnati game being ridiculous, but also the line being ridiculous. So I don't know if I would bet a 4-team parlay here tomorrow. Maybe we'll see what confirmed lineups do again, right? But this is like, I guess you could put this in a round robin. We almost can guess what the line is going to be also on the Toronto game. That's kind of funny. Let's put those four in here and see like what you're supposed to bet. Because I could kind of try to answer this question. So you've got a 4-teamer here, and I don't like just straight up parlays. Although if we're going to win the FanDuel competition, we have to do straight up parlay. But what you want is you don't want terrible lines. You got to do something about this -295. It's a waste of your bet. It's not enough. And the Dodgers is okay there, I guess. The Boston, I guess, is okay. You're going with Sale. You might lose it, but you just go with it. Toronto, what's it going to be? Well, Toronto game is Philly here. So we have algorithm has him favored with Gaussman if he's pitching. Bellotti has really pretty good. No, not that good stats. His ERA is not bad, but his record is not good. Philadelphia has not been good with him. Don't know what that line is. Gaussman's probably going to be a favorite. Toronto probably gets like a -140 maybe on that line. I'm tempted to do something like this. Then you have 125, something like that. So if that's the case, then that's what that looks like right there. And And our round robin calculator would now say you'd have to take them at minus 140. So, I mean, do Yankees minus 1.5 because they're supposed to crush it. Maybe you get minus 125 even. I don't even know. It's kind of interesting. So that's what just basically looking at it kind of would have you do. Now, let's say we got $100 on the day. All right. There are 11 bets. So you can almost do something like this by 2s and 3s, which is $100 pays 404 if you get all 4 of these picks right. And these are premium picks with having to have the Yankees covered, but it says they're going to crush it. And it gives them that huge MxP factor. So if you're just listening to what's supposed to happen, it's saying 7-2. You can also, I mean, Ashcraft has had some rough starts recently, but don't listen to me. Like, don't listen to my BS. Listen to the algorithm. The algorithm knows that the Yankees can hit, and there's things the algorithm is thinking about that I'm not thinking about. So when you get lineups in there at the end of the day, you have other options with your pick. You could do something like Yankees runs. Runs are going to be over probably 5 or 5.5 or something at same thing, probably like this. That's an option. I like personally, if you're really going with winning, and even though they're home, you can't bet minus 295. It's just not worth. Look how bad it makes things. If you bet the minus 295, you go from 405. Actually, that's not that bad. Actually, that's not that bad. You lose out on $75, right? I see what that Yankees line is. It's actually not as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to drop to like 260 or something. I don't know if this is minus 125. What if this is minus 150? 85. Then I'm tempted to take minus 295 almost. I'm like that, like they're really gonna win, Like that's what because when you have that weird situation where it goes into extra innings or something weird happens and they don't win by 1, but they win, you're like, why didn't I just do this? Because the algorithm said they're supposed to win. Stop getting greedy. So if you just straight up listen to the algorithm, you get this. Well, what if you try to add in like Minnesota and Texas? And I would stop there because of the minus 210 with San Francisco. So these potentially, these got 16s, right? Cleveland was a 16 last night. And they won. So let's add them on there. And in this situation, now let's say you got your $100. How are you going to wager 6? Well, there are 57 combinations. Let's pretend that this is like the 5-team, or this is if FanDuel was doing a competition tomorrow, like in the video I did previously to last night or whatever, where you're trying to hit your parlay, right? Well, if you bet the $5, this thing pays 18-1. It's not that much. It really isn't. So this would not win. I don't think 18-1 would win in that competition where you have to get the best paying parlay with $5. But if you have $100 instead of just $5, and these are the big picks that the algorithm said to take, right? Well, you can put $5 on the end, but you can start distributing out your money across different things so that you can get different amounts depending on how much you win. I like to kind of weight it like this. I usually just bet $1 on the end to see what it pays, but you can start weighting things like this. 98.3. Let's do that. So here's $100 that pays $650, 16 if you can catch all 6 of these. And if you say you lose one of these, you lose this Texas down at the bottom because you shouldn't have played it. You still get 220 back. What if you lose Minnesota also? You get 65 back. And so now you start losing money if you do worse than 4 and 2 on this list because the lines are not great. So there's a lot of different things you can do here, but this is basically the raw version of what it would say to do based on what you get in the day. So that's going to be my update. You can see that no matter what the lineups are updated tomorrow, the changes that happen in the weather, it's something for people who subscribe to the Google Sheet that we'll look at. I'm not going to do a video about the games tomorrow. I'm going to do other stuff. Yeah, I'll be out and about tomorrow. And so but the Google Sheet will get updated. And I hope you guys understand that there is some logic here, which is saying those top tier games with MxP factors that are up at the top are what you're supposed to be focusing in. And I like that is as the sort factor because of the difference of how it really separates games you should play and games you shouldn't play. All right. So good luck, everybody. I hope your pick of Cleveland won today. And tomorrow, you can see that it really does like these four. And we'll see if those four win. All right. Good luck.